Hi, Coach. You got Josh Sutchar here from TrainHeroic. Couldn't be more excited to spend a few minutes with you today to talk about a couple solutions that TrainHeroic's recently launched into the marketplace. The first of which is using the app as a coach to actually log training on behalf of your athletes. The second is using the app as a coach to create training sessions. That could be for yourself, could be for individual athletes, and it could be for teams of athletes. And so we'll take 15 minutes today. Here's the agenda. I want to dive into how we got here. So I titled this section, Your Problems Are Solutions. This will start very similarly to a webinar I did about a month ago, just to talk through the feedback. How are we getting to the point that we're getting today? Right? Where's that feedback coming from? Where's that data coming from? And really what you'll find are these are direct quotes and conversations that we're hearing from our coaches. Then we'll get into just demoing the platform. So we'll show you exactly what we've come up with, and importantly, how you can best leverage that tool from me today. So I'll just show my phone on the screen and we'll walk through that just so you're really comfortable with how this thing actually works. Again, logging for your athletes and then creating training sessions for your athletes or for teams. So let's take a step back before we dive all the way in and just kind of talk about why TrainHeroic exists. Our goal here, the reason we're doing what we're doing, is to empower coaches and athletes to be their best. So every solution that we put into the marketplace is really aimed at achieving this goal. Right, so mobile programming is what we call this solution. It's just another way to take another step in that direction. All right, in today's purpose, I want you to arm yourself, your staff, and your athletes with a tool that truly empowers you to adjust training on the fly. You might hear something in real time from a client, from an athlete, and need to make a change. That could be for a whole team. It could be for an individual athlete. And we want you, using a device that you'll have handy, your phone, and using the app, be able to actually make those changes. Right, so I titled this section, Your Problems Are Solutions. Again, this was something that I used in a previous webinar that I did, but I just want to give a big shout out to our coaches and our athletes. We've got partners that care enough to speak up about what they need and why they need it, and that helps us build solutions that actually make a difference. So keep that up. We really encourage you guys, seriously, send that feedback. Our team sees it. We talk about it. We prioritize it, and hopefully you're seeing that in the solution and specifically in what we talk about today. So here's just a couple of quotes. I'll show them up on the screen. I'll read through them. One of our coaches mentioned, hey, we're tasked to deal with varying equipment, environments, schedules, and injuries at all times. Simply doing a session on the day of schedule is rare. So there's the ability to actually reschedule training sessions, and we'll talk about that. Right? Our guys are doing extra sets and exercises, and I need visibility into what's actually going on in the weight room. When I'm not there, I need a better way to capture what's happening. So the ability to add sets was something that we heard over and over. We need the flexibility to respond to the fluid nature of training, games, and schedules. So that's anything from rescheduling to adding exercises to swapping movements to quite a bit more. Right? I constantly need to make changes on the fly, and going back to my computer while I'm training someone on the floor just isn't happening. So although coaches were telling us what they wanted to do, how they wanted to do it, and where they wanted to do it from was a very important piece of this, and you'll find that just in the solution. The last couple, one, my clients expect me to carry the clipboard when they're training, so I'd like to log their training sessions for them. This was something we were hearing over and over and over, is just this concept of, hey, I actually need to be able to make changes for my athletes sometimes. How can I do that? All right, so we'll dive into all of that right now. We'll call this demo time, and just in the next 10 minutes, I should get you very familiar with, again, how to log training on behalf of your athletes. We'll do that first, and then how to create training sessions for teams and for individual athletes. All right, Coach, so I'm just actually holding my phone in my hand here, right? So I'm going to click on the app. Now, I'm logged in as a coach, and so the first thing you're going to see is a list of all your athletes and a list of teams. You can search for athletes here. In this case, I'm actually going to log on behalf of one of my athletes, okay? So I'm going to search for an athlete. In fact, I'm going to search for Solomon. So as I search for him, if I click on his name, I'm going to be brought to his specific training calendar. And this is actually just showing us exactly what he would see. So today's a rest day, right? Or I can toggle through the dates. Now, if I want to log on their behalf, I simply hit log for athlete. Because this session was programmed on a different day, I can quickly move it. But in this case, I'm going to hit no thanks. Now, maybe I don't feel like I should fill out his readiness questionnaire. I absolutely can, but I'm just acting on behalf of this athlete. So I'm seeing exactly what they can see. You'll see the sections of the training session up top, and I can scan through these just by swiping across my phone from right to left. Now, the first thing they did, maybe the heroic warm-up, they did it, right? So I'll mark it as completed. And then again, I'll scan to the next section. For the back squat, we've got 4 sets of 8. And maybe on the first set, they did 225. And in fact, they did the same thing all subsequent sets, right? So I'm just going to hit autofill, and we're going to log 225 for each set. Now, in this instance, maybe they felt really good, so I'm going to go ahead and add a set, right? And on this final set, we did 5 at 245. I can add as many sets as I want. And then again, I'm just swiping from right to left to move to the next movement. Now, as we get into shoulder press, maybe I realize, hey, you know what? We actually want to do something different. We're not going to do overhead press for whatever reason, right? I can swap a movement out. So in the top right-hand corner, if I click on these 3 vertical dots, I can actually swap an exercise. And instead of the shoulder press, maybe we're going to just simply do some push-ups, right? So I can search for that movement. Maybe I realize, you know what? We're going to do, instead of just a push movement overall, we're just going to actually do some rowing, right? So I type row. I'll see a list of movements. In this case, we're going to go with ring rows. I'll swap the exercise. And so what that does is it simply shows us what there was and what there is now, right? And I can actually record and log those. So I can quickly say I did everything that was prescribed, or I can adjust things individually, right? And then I'm just scanning to the next section. So every piece of functionality that your athletes would have, you should see here as well, okay? From swapping movements to adjusting sets and reps to rescheduling sessions. Now, if I was training multiple athletes or multiple clients, I can simply click this arrow to kind of zoom out, click in the top left on their picture, and then swap athletes, right? So maybe I'm also training Jeremy. I can click on Jeremy, and this allows me as a coach to toggle between a few athletes at a time, and now I'm logging on their behalf. So it takes a couple clicks to kind of zoom out, get back to the list, and then zoom back in. But you have the ability to do exactly that. If you have any questions on logging on behalf of your athletes, let us know. Let our team know. We can walk through things for you. Now, the second piece that I want to dive into is a little bit more complex. It's super powerful, and we're really excited about it, and it's actually just creating sessions, right? So if I click on Teams as an example, for the first time ever, you can actually create a training session for any team that you've created, any team that you're coaching, right? So you create teams within your coach account using a laptop at your computer, right? Well, you can see all these teams. And by clicking on a specific team, in this case, I'm going to click UW Badger football, you've got the calendar for the team. Now, on any date, you can click into an actual day, and you can unpublish that session so you can edit it. So here in the top right, I can click on these dots, and I can unpublish, and that would allow me to edit it. But let's just start from scratch by going to the 24th as an example and just hitting create session here at the bottom. Now, by creating a session, I'm able to do almost everything that I can do on my computer. So the first thing I'm going to do is I could adjust the name of the session. I could adjust the instructions. I'm going to add some exercises. So I'll click add exercise, and I'll simply search for an exercise. So I'll search for a back squat. Right? Now, as soon as I find what I want, I click on it, and it's almost added. It's being ready to be added. As soon as I hit add, that's added to my session. A quicker way to actually build a session is to add all your movements first. So I might add a bench press, a back squat. You know what? We're going to then do box jumps. Right? So I've got 3 movements. Now, as I add movements, I have the ability to superset all 3 of them, or 2, or however many I've added, right? It could be 7, or I can just add them individually. Now, in this case, I'm going to click to add them individually. So by clicking add, we've added those 3 movements. We're going to back squat, then bench press, then box jump. And in fact, I actually want to pair both the back squat and the bench press. I want to superset these movements. So I'm going to click this chain link between A and B. It should look very familiar with how you're programming actually on the computer today. But by doing that, I now have A1, A2, and then B, right? And again, I can pair all 3 if I'd like. I can unpair. So if I wanted the back squat to be separate and the bench and box jumps to be paired, I can do that, right? But let's dive into the actual sets and reps. So I'll click on back squat. Let's program the first set at 10. Now, these might be higher level athletes, so rather than leaving the load blank, right, I can actually click on this LB for pounds, and I could adjust what I'm programming. Is it a linear weight progression? In this case, I'm actually going to program just a percentage, and we're going to work at 55%. Now, I want 3 sets, so I'm going to click Add Set. It'll assume you want exactly what happened before, but I'm going to adjust this, and we're going to go at 60%. I'm going to add another set, and we're going to go at 65%. And I'm going to hit done. Now I can put in some notes if I want. I can change the name of the section, right? Maybe that we just called this like our main lift. And I want you to rest for 2 minutes between sets. For us, I'm going to hit done. This next section is an important one. Maybe this is something we compete in every day, right? This is a team, again, we're setting up here, right? So bench press and box jumps, I'm going to click here to rename that, and we're going to call this competition, right? Let's jump into the bench press, and I want 10, then a set of 8, and then a set of 6. Right? After every set, I want 1 box jump for max height. Right? And the reason I brought this up is you'll notice this trophy icon up top. Now, any section you can make into a leaderboard. And so for maybe a team type training, if it's a competition, if I click that, I'm going to create a leaderboard. Just a really cool way to actually increase some engagement, right? So if it's just, we're going to go for inches, and we're seeing who could jump on the highest box, right? Record your highest jump. How about highest successful jump for today's leaderboard? And I'll hit done. So here we go. And you'll notice this little icon with the trophy. That denotes that, hey, this is a leaderboard. Just another option for you. But at this point, we've programmed back squat, a superset of bench and box jumps, a leaderboard. I can add as many movements as I want, but I'm going to hit publish. And this thing's now live on the calendar on the 24th. Now from here, there's a ton of shortcuts. So as a coach, if I click these 3 dots, I've got a bunch of actions I can take, from editing to rescheduling. Importantly, I wanted to show you copy and paste, which is really smooth. I'll hit copy and paste, and let's actually program that for Tuesday, December 31st. And I'll hit select. So what we're doing is we're just throwing a copy of that training session. You can jump in here and adjust it. Maybe on this day, we're going to program an extra set of 10, and we're going to bump up that percentage to be 70, right? Or maybe I come in here, I actually just want a linear weight progression based on what they did last time. So quite a bit that you can do with copy and paste to save you time, but that's how you can program it. As soon as you hit publish, that thing is live and it's on the calendar. Now, if we want to step back and do the same thing for an individual athlete, I'm going to click in the top left. I'm going to go and search for an athlete. Let's search for Jeremy as an example, right? In fact, let's use the search bar and let's search Jeremy. Let's actually click on Jeremy. Right, and this will allow us to actually record for Jeremy, but importantly, I'm going to go to like the first, and I'm just going to create a session. So the same ability that you have as a coach on a team, you can actually program for an individual athlete. And again, you can do this in real time. Now, there's still today a couple things that you can't do if you were to add an exercise. You can't create new exercises. You can't create new circuits. You still need to do that at a computer, but you can pull up anything in your library and use that. So it's not fully as functional as sitting at a laptop, just like you would never program 12 weeks of training on your phone. That's not the intention here, but we do want you to be able to change, to adapt, to evolve all on the fly from your phone. So, Coach, I know this was a lot. We threw this at you really quickly. Feel free at any point to reach out to our team. You can email us at support@trainheroic.com. We couldn't be more excited to see what this does for your coaching. As feedback comes in, we'll look to evolve and adapt and adjust this very solution for you guys. So even by the time you're seeing this, there's likely some changes going on in the background, hopefully that you just see as optimizations to the process to make it faster and more powerful for you. So thanks a ton for your time today. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. Have an awesome day.